Batman trailer.
Why so
Was it to do with muting?
Yeah, it was unmute. So maybe they will
Making no noise. Put in a hot cat in it. Boil the water. Okay. Okay, so then good morning. Morning, everyone. So again, with the meditation session, divided into two parts. The first part, focusing the mind using the breath. And the second part, analytical meditation, and that's going to be around what Geshe covered last Thursday. Part of what he talked about last Thursday was this idea that this is the time of degenerations, and that actually in this time it's much more difficult to create virtue. But if we are able to create virtue at this time, it's far more powerful than it was at the time of the Buddha. So then, in engaging in this first part of the meditation, focusing the mind, is to motivate, to put some effort into the idea that we want to bring the mind into the present moment, want to let go of the past and plans for the future, and whatever other distractions might arise, because it's really worthwhile to put some time into this practice of keeping the mind in the present moment, being aware of the distractions and not getting drawn away, but really trying to improve our mindfulness of the object, continually being, and with this awareness, to bring the mind back to the breath. And to be aware of the different distractions as they arise, to be alert to this, to have this mental faculty of alertness that takes note of the distractions without being drawn into them, but at the same time having the quality of mind that we remain relaxed and don't get into a fight over them, not try to crush them, but just to note them, observe them, and make our business to bring the mind back continually to the breath. So then just to continue in this way, and using that, if you don't have a method already, then to use the method of observing the sensation of the air coming in through the nostrils and then passing out, and try as best as possible to keep the mind settled on the experience of the air coming in and coming out. So then just to continue like this for the first part of the session. So then, with the main body of the meditation, last week, I think pretty sure Thursday, Geshe-la mentioned about that this was the time of the 5 degenerations. And those 5 degenerations are that the first is what referred to as the degeneration of time, meaning that at this period there is a tendency in the world of increasing violence and war, and more sickness and disease, epidemics. And inclination for famine to occur, and to food, even food, to lose its nutritional value. And then there is the degeneration of what they call sentient beings. And that is the time when beings become less able to comprehend the Dharma. Less able to have the kind of mind that understands the message in the teachings of the Buddha. And so whether this is true about these 5 degenerations or not, we probably have in our own experience that there are people that may even be very intelligent, but actually they don't have the mind that understands the concepts that we hear in Buddhism. Somehow the mind, the way they see things, that way of thinking prevents them from understanding. And then, so to refer to the degeneration of life expectancy, lifespan. So in one way we can say that we can observe that the average age of human beings is increasing. So I don't know over what period of time we're referring to this. There may be over this short period of time an increase, but maybe into the future. Perhaps there's a mistaken understanding even in this 5 degenerations about it. But it could also be referring to increase in abortions. That lifespan is decreasing on average if there's a lot of abortion taking place. And then the next one is the degeneration in action and view, meaning that sentient beings are human beings here. Their actions of body and speech degenerate. Their morality, particularly body and speech, tends to degenerate. And then degeneration of view, of understanding of the world, the views that they hold degenerate. And certainly, we're a bit hard to have a yardstick, but you can see, if you look at the President of the United States, definitely degeneration there, no sense of real ethics, understanding the importance of not harming. And also a distorted view and understanding. And so many other people also no sense of the importance of having moral conduct of body and speech and having correct view, particularly right view in terms of karma, in terms of believing that there are such things as spiritual practice, in terms of the possibility of existence after this life. And then there is degeneration of afflictions, meaning at this time, then the afflictions of attachment and anger, ignorance, and all the other afflictions that manifest out of these. They are said to be in a state of proliferation, of growing. And certainly we could see in terms of our society and the tendency for the feeding in of desire, energy, of encouraging it through advertising, through materialism. It leads more and more to the addictive mind of attachment. Anyway, so to whatever extent these five, examine are they true, not true, we can see to some degree it's true. And to consider that there is a real possibility, according to the teachings, that at this time, if it is difficult to maintain virtue, as is claimed, then it's far more powerful whenever we create virtue than it was at the time of the Buddha. There are even some texts, I don't know exactly what the reference is, but that virtue, keeping vows, for instance, as a monk, for one day is equivalent to keeping those vows at the time of the Buddha. And so similarly, this applies to our other virtuous conduct. Our determination to abandon non-virtue and our determination to create virtue. And if we generate this in our mind and live according to this, then these actions become far more powerful than they were at the time of the Buddha. So this is all is very true. Rather than being a basis for pessimism, it should be a basis for developing an appreciation, a growing appreciation of our human life and the various factors that lead it to become perfect human rebirth, including having faith, having access to the teachings, having contact with faultless spiritual teachers, and so on, having these various conditions. We are extremely fortunate. And particularly here, us, that not only have we got the freedom to be able to attend these teachings here, but we've also not just having the freedom to attend them or to listen to them, but we have a mind, because some people may have the freedom to do it, but they don't take it up. But we have a mind that perceives somehow that this is what's most important. That we have that capacity, even though it's difficult at this time, it's 5 degenerations, to have a mind that appreciates the Dharma. So we have the freedom to come here or to tune into the teachings, and we make the decision to do this. And how important it is to continue doing this, because this is the way for our own peace of mind and happiness. No matter how strong our tendencies may be to go the other way, and they will be strong the other way, just to constantly recall to mind that how powerful it is if we are able to discipline ourselves to give priority to tuning into Dharma practice and applying the Dharma in our life. So just think about it, even from a point of view that there are people who are been associated with this center for many years, maybe even live on this property, but wouldn't consider themselves Buddhist. And don't feel necessarily connection with the teachings of the Bodhisattva's way of life. We can live here, be very close to it, but they don't tune into the teachings and apply the methods. So for whatever reason, in the conventional world, then people would probably think we're crazy. But from this perspective of the 5 degenerations, then we're seizing hold of the opportunity. We're acting with sanity and should be joyful about this. And then particularly this, we've got this good fortune to tune into this text, Bodhisattva's way of life, say, the text to which all the lamas of our tradition refer, the text to which His Holiness the Dalai Lama so often refers. And so much of it also as well is reasonably easy to understand. And so also as well, on the basis of this, the good fortune, conditions coming together for us to be here and taking it up, that even if the difficulties can arise, and the difficulties can arise in this center in terms of various problems that may manifest, even in the level of disharmony between people, that actually our human life, and at this time our human life, is an opportunity for us to make use of that challenging circumstance to establish very strongly in the heart, whatever occurs, that we try to be the source of harmony and sanity at this center. In the same way that our lamas are, His Holiness the Dalai Lama always, whatever the problem, whatever the conflict is with the Chinese, never shifts from this mind of not wanting to harm others and trying to benefit others. And so, as we see in the political world also outside, particularly in America, as I mentioned before, the issues that are happening in that society, and the qualities of the US president, unfortunately, how imperative it is for us to adopt the understanding of Buddhism, the principles in Buddhism, so that we can be a source of sanity and wisdom and kindness, whatever our circumstances may be. Okay, so then with that in mind, that we dedicate whatever positive results from meditating in this way towards developing the appropriate mind state, so that when we listen to the teachings this morning, we hear the teachings this morning, we try to understand like each of those, the advice that's given in the text that Geshe conveys becomes the means by which we can flourish as a compassionate, wise person in the world, and thereby fulfill our human potential to benefit ourselves and others. Okay, so thank you.
Thanks, Harry.